Unless you've been living under a rock, you are very likely aware of the ICE protests that have sparked in LA, have spread to NYC, and will likely continue to go on across the country in light of all of the deportations that are going on, that are scheduled. As the protests have been going on and more people are speaking out about it on social media, there have been two tactics I've noticed to kind of spark Black people to action, especially the 92% who have been talking about they are sitting out, minding their business, and they're resting. There's the antagonization I've been seeing online, basically shaming Black women and Black people into not protesting. And then on the other hand, you have people who have weaponized empathy against Black people, specifically Black women. And that's what I want to talk about in this video. The weaponized empathy and the lack of accountability that has been going on in certain communities. Aloha, beautiful humans. Welcome to my channel. If you are new here, welcome back if we've been locked in. My name is Sasha and it's been a minute. I think the last time I posted a video was about 2 weeks ago, maybe a little over 2 weeks ago. And if you are on social media in any capacity or you're a content creator or an influencer, you know 2 weeks is a very long time to be away from social media. It's gonna take me a minute to get back into the algorithm, which is a little annoying. So if you come across this video and you watch at least half of it, go ahead and interact with the content, engage with the content, like the video, subscribe, leave a comment. That would help me out a lot to get back into the algorithm. I will say though that it was a much needed break. I celebrated my birthday earlier this week. I was out of the country for 10 days and it was really restful, restorative, and what I needed. If you watched my last video, you'll know that I talked a little bit about, is this right for me? Should I still be posting content? Maybe the content that I'm posting needs to shift. I don't know. I was kind of going through it and not necessarily doubting myself, but just feeling really burnt out and feeling that the energy, the time, the love, the energy and attention I was putting into, creating content, specifically creating YouTube videos, I wasn't really receiving that back. At the same time, I think sometimes it's really helpful. It's a really helpful reminder, especially in my personal life as a SoulCycle instructor. It is also a good reminder to focus on the people who are in front of you, the people who are watching and supporting, instead of focusing on the people who aren't there. So hopefully, yes, my community will continue to grow. But if you've been here and you've been locked in, thank you so much for being here. I just feel really good. Like I said, I'm back. I was in Aruba. I had a really good birthday. Snowbay and I were there. It was really restorative. I'm all nice and bronzy and tan. Like I got tan lines going on right now. I have not been this dark since, actually, never mind, Nigeria, which was 6 months ago. But when I was younger, I used to spend so much more time in the sun. I used to get really, really super tan. So I got my chocolatey on. I'm really tan. I'm really happy about it. I might do an Aruba vlog, honestly. I feel like on vacation, I would love to be actively posting content, but for me to like sit down, like before we leave, I always sketch out an itinerary, but then when I'm there, sometimes I'll go off the map. Like I made so many dinner reservations and then I ended up only keeping like 2 of them, like dinner on the first night and then my birthday dinner reservation. So it's always helpful to have an itinerary. Maybe I'll just do an Aruba vlog. I don't know. Let me know. Drop that in the comments and let me know if you want the vlog. I'm trying to also diversify my content as I'm trying to diversify my content and get the channel, going, make it, just show more of my personality outside of covering current events and DEI, covering what's hot on these streets. I want to show a lot more of me, a lot more of Sasha, a lot more of my personal life. So I think I'll just do an Aruba vlog. Like I said, I had an itinerary, but a lot of it was what we felt during the day. And I'm glad that I never, there are people who create those itineraries, steal my itinerary. And I think those are helpful, but I'm also a vibes person. So I never lock myself into something that we said we're gonna do. Like if we pay for it over a certain amount, like if we pay over $100 for it, I feel compelled to show up, because there are a lot of things you book and then you can't get your money back. So over $100, I'm like, okay, let's show up. But if it's like less than $100, I'm like, meh, I'm not showing up. So I'm gonna drop an Aruba vlog probably sometime next week, tips, tricks. You can steal my itinerary if you plan on going, but I wanted to post about it because it was really fun. And I think there are things that you experience while you're there that you may not necessarily planned for in the planning process, and I found that that was our experience as well. But anyways, I'm happy to be back to posting content. Let me know what the audio quality is like. A piece of feedback that I was consistently getting on the last few of my videos was the audio quality was not where it needed to be, so I got a new mic. I think this is my 5th mic right now. It was so funny because after I posted that last video and was like, you know what, I just need a break, I'm going on vacation, I don't know if I'm gonna keep up with this, the capacity in which I'm gonna do it, how much time I'm gonna devote to it. I was just like really, I don't know, your girl was down and out, very plainly down and out, feeling really frustrated. And then I went and ordered a new mic. So I was like, obviously I'm locked in. So let me know what the audio quality is like. Yeah, Aruba was so much fun. I loved it. I spent nearly every single day in the water, either in the ocean, well, the Caribbean Sea. So either in the water or by the pool, in the pool. So my braids are like fried, but we're keeping them in for another 4 weeks because why not? You wash them, you lay your edges, and you call it a day. But I'm happy to be back. Let me know what the audio quality is like. Okay, so let's get into the actual meat of the video. What are we talking about today? I did talk about, and I have done a video about how people have been antagonizing since the election and the results and everything going on, all of the protests in real life and a lot of the online commentary, the antagonization of the 92% who basically were like, you know what, we showed up in the booth, we did what we needed to do, now you are not going to use my energy, labor, time, I'm not sacrificing my body. A lot of Black women have been very vocal about that stance, and people have not taken very well to that, and there are a lot of people, a lot of videos that I've come across online who have been antagonizing Black women, trying to spur them into action or shame them for sitting this out, saying this is not my fight. Now, I think there have been enough videos posted about that, and I've done one myself, like I said, so I don't really feel the need to spend that much time in this video talking about that. I want to talk about the weaponized empathy that I've been seeing going on online and how a lot of people are posting their sob stories, their regret stories, about how they voted for Donald. They didn't think this was going to happen. Surprise, this man is doing everything he said he was going to do. And now they are shocked, hurt, their families are being impacted, their friends are being impacted. And now everybody is all of a sudden regretful. They understand, you know, why Black women were speaking out or voted the way they did. And now now people are calling for empathy. And I think that's very disingenuous for several reasons. I posted a brief video on TikTok about it, but I wanted to take this video to flesh it out even more. Empathy without accountability and boundaries is encouragement, and that encouragement can often breed a sense of entitlement in people who feel they are owed your empathy. A clear example of this that I'm seeing happening in real time is I came across a video of a young woman whose father is terminally ill. They say he has only 6 months to live. He was recently detained by ICE, and she voted for Donald. And now she is asking for people's empathy and attention to his story, so hopefully they will release him. I do not think it is helpful to get into her comment section and tell her, you voted for this, deal with the consequences of your actions. That is not helpful. Her family is dealing with something very tragic, and I really do hope and pray they are able to be reunited. As I was watching her video, however, something that really struck me was the way she continued to use the word empathy, and people in the comment section were speaking about people's lack of empathy, because I do think it is rude to get in someone's comment section when they are sharing something like that and be like, you voted for this, because two things can be true at once. It's rude and unnecessary. It is also true she voted for this. And when you are asking people to be empathetic towards your situation, her vote did not extend empathy to others who would possibly be impacted by the repercussions, what would come from her vote. There's been a lot of antagonizing Black people on this app over the past few weeks in light of what's happening in LA and now NYC, and what will likely continue to happen across the country. However, something I keep seeing is this word empathy. We're all in this together, etc., etc. If we are all in this together and we are extending others empathy, why wasn't it, where was that empathy when people were voting as they did? And would those same people care now if they were not dealing with the repercussions of their actions? And this is where, again, that empathy without boundaries and accountability, it becomes encouragement, which turns into entitlement. I think we need to be a lot more mindful of our demands of other people's empathy and how we use that word empathy, because what a lot of people mean when they are calling for empathy is they want their choices and their behavior to be co-signed. They want to be enabled. They feel entitled to your empathy, and they do not want to be held accountable for their choices, their actions, and their behavior. Before we get into the video, or further into the video rather, if you are in LA, NYC, please stay safe. You know, I don't think we all protest and show up in the ways we feel best, right? In the ways that honor us most. And so I'm not going to sit here and criticize anyone for how they're showing up or how they're not showing up, because you don't know anyone's situation. And before we can call out what anybody else is doing, we need to be very mindful of what we are or what we aren't doing. And I've talked about this a lot. You know, I'm seeing people talk about why content creators aren't speaking up, which content creators are not saying this, which content creators are not saying that. However, I am of the mindset that if you are not using your platform, your voice, your money, your time, your energy to protest or to basically show up and support your community how you expect others to show up, then you're a hypocrite and you need to walk the walk and talk the talk. So if you are in any of these areas, first and foremost, please stay safe. Please protect your peace. Please do whatever you feel is best that is going to, please do whatever is going to keep you the safest. And if you want to protest, just be safe. Whatever action you feel like you need to take right now to maintain your peace, your safety, and your sanity, please do that. Please do not be gaslit by people who are demanding you sacrifice your body and they're not even doing the same thing. So I want to make it very clear that I have a lot of empathy for what is going on right now. I will always have empathy because I'm a child of immigrants. It would be very crazy and hypocritical for me to sit here and just turn a blind eye to everything that is happening, because I am a child of immigrants and I understand how much my parents sacrificed and how hard they worked for me to have a good life, for me to be here. So I have so much respect for immigrants. I will always have respect for immigrants. Immigrants built this country, and we owe so many things in this country to immigration. We also owe a lot to Black people, to the Black community, Black Americans who have made it so their struggle, their fight for civil rights have made it so immigrants are allowed to be here and have the freedoms we have today. And that is in part why I do not agree with, while I am sympathetic, while I am empathetic to what is going on, I do not think it is necessary to antagonize Black people for choosing to sit out and protect their peace, because Black people showed up in the ways that it mattered most. We showed up at the polls and we did what we needed to do. And tangentially, there are a lot of people who think only Latinos are being impacted by these ICE raids. Latinos, however, aren't only what the stereotypical Latino, what we think they look like. Caribbeans are also Latinos, and there are a lot of Black immigrants, Black Latinos who are being impacted by this. So when I say do whatever you feel you need to do to support your stance, your views, your politics, that's fine. And I understand why Latinos are the most vocal about what's happening right now, because they are the community that is most outwardly affected when it comes to media representation. I understand why Latinos are speaking out, absolutely, and why they are so angry and hurt by what's happening. I, however, do not think that there are people who are being honest about why we are here in this moment. And as people are, there have been a lot of videos from Latino and Latina content creators, influencers, and people just posting on TikTok, basically calling out Black people and trying to shame Black people for not wanting to protest. However, not only did we protest where it mattered, you had so many people in the Latino community who were Latinos for Trump. That was a huge movement. We see how Latinos voted with the demographic breakdown of the election results. This is what Donald said was going to happen. There are a demographic of Latinos who chose their proximity to whiteness over their own family and friends and what would happen to them. And so now you're in this position where your community is being negatively impacted by the repercussions of your actions. And what I'm not seeing enough of is I'm not seeing a lot of Latinos or a lot of people who are speaking out about what's happening. I'm not seeing enough people also speak out and take responsibility for what they did and how they voted. And when I do see these people taking any level of accountability or regretting their vote or any level of responsibility, it's not coming from a place of genuine reflection. It's coming from a place of, I am now being impacted by the repercussions of my actions. The leopards ate my face and now I'm sad. There is a video I came across a couple of days ago that I genuinely feel empathy for, who I talked about in the video that I posted on TikTok, Cynthia Hot Mom. Her chronically ill father is an undocumented citizen who was detained by ICE. This man is estimated to have 6 months to live. There is a possibility he may pass away while in detention, but this is what she voted for. And so there's no genuine reflection as to her actions. It's only, I'm sorry because now I'm being impacted by it. And I think a lot of Black people are seeing this, and it's like, it is very hard to feel sorry for the communities that are being impacted by this when A, we told you so, B, you have Latinos for Trump. People aren't genuinely regretful of their choices. They are regretful of how their choices are impacting them. Something else that I'm finding very curious in this antagonization of Black people, specifically Black women, and the shaming of Black women and weaponizing empathy against Black women is it's very geared towards the Black community. I don't see enough people asking where Asians are, where Southeast Asians are, where their European counterparts are, because quiet as it's kept, there are a lot of undocumented Europeans here as well. In New York, they are deporting, they are detaining and then deporting European immigrants, but that obviously the optics of that don't look good because it's easier for some white Americans to empathize with these European immigrants because even though they are undocumented, they look just like them. So they are more empathetic towards these European immigrants than they are towards Caribbean or Latino undocumented citizens. And I hate the phrase illegal immigrant because if we were going by what constitutes an illegal immigrant, anyone who is not native or indigenous to America is an illegal immigrant. So what are we talking about here? But I digress. Yeah, I haven't seen enough people, as you have a lot of Latinos. Again, this may be a chronically online take because this is what I'm seeing online. And when I watch the protests themselves, when I'm watching footage of the protests, am I seeing a lot of African Americans? Am I seeing a lot of Black Americans showing up the way, for example, they showed up during BLM? No, I'm not seeing a lot of Black Americans. However, I am seeing some. So it's not that Black people aren't sitting this out together fully, totally. It's that I guess a lot of Latino Americans or people who are being impacted by what's happening, in the Latino community, they don't feel enough Black people are showing up. But why are you calling on just Black people if you couldn't be bothered to vote for a Black woman or a biracial Black woman when you had the opportunity to do what was necessary to protect yourself and your families? You had that opportunity, but you voted for someone who explicitly said the deportations will start tomorrow. And they did, and they are ongoing. This is what you voted for. And now all of a sudden, because it's affecting you, this man is doing exactly what he said he was going to do, what you voted for. Now that it's impacting you because you thought you were special, now it's all of a sudden we all need to band together. There's only one race. There's a human race. But there is a fair amount of racism shown towards Black people from every other racial demographic. So how are you going to racially discriminate against people, vote against a Black woman in favor of a white man whose policies were going to impact your Latino community? I I just don't understand the disconnect. And the only way I am reconciling it in my brain is there is this entitlement to Black energy and to Black bodies. I came across this video, several videos of this one young lady. Her account is standing on business, and she is definitely standing on business. She is very passionate. There are things that she has said that I agree with, but I also disagree with a lot of what she has to say. I do not think her opinions are fully formed. And more than anything, she's doing exactly what I've talked about in this video, weaponizing empathy against Black people, asking for empathy from Black people when so many communities do not extend that same level of empathy or care towards Black people.
And since y'all want to make this a race issue, let's talk. I have a lot of people in the comments talking about, why are you just talking about African Americans? Why are you just asking for our support? Why are you not asking white people? Why are you not asking Asian people? Let me tell you something. If it's not clear by now, they have never been part of the fight. And that's not to come for you guys, but the majority is not the minority, right? Black and brown are the minority in this country. We have had a lot more issues than any other race in this country. So, you know, by default, you would kind of think like we would stand together, you know, having a history of so much oppression. And, you know, I'm not trying to discredit anybody else, but we have both been through a lot. This is not even a topic of conversation. Once y'all get over the fact that it's not a race thing, because there is only one race, and that is the human race. And if you guys want to continue to put us in separate teams, then we are never going to fix the problem. Truly. If there is no unity, nothing is getting fixed. I'm going to just leave that there.
If this wasn't a race issue, like she said, there wouldn't be this explicit outcry and demand for Black people to get in the field, essentially, to put our bodies, energy, time on the line. We are all one race, the human race, kumbaya. I can understand how she feels that way. I can understand that sentiment, but it's giving very all lives matter, and I don't see color, which is problematic in and of itself. Overwhelmingly, and we don't only see it, I think it was so glaring in this election because of what was at stake, but this is nothing new. Overwhelmingly, Black people will show up and vote in a manner that benefits everyone else, while those same people cannot be bothered to vote in their own self-interest. Because I am a child of immigrants, because so much of my community and my personal life and my lived experiences and professional life, because they are also immigrants as well, I will always have empathy and I will always have sympathy. However, I can understand a lot of people choosing to withhold that empathy and withhold that sympathy when you have the community that was impacted most, when you had them out there making music like this.
I will vote for Donald Trump. Let's do it. Latino for Trump. I will vote for Donald Trump.
Black people showed up, Black men and Black women. We showed up when it mattered the most. And while I don't think it's productive or helpful to I told you so people, that's very immature, it's very childish, and it's just deeply unnecessary. Like, what are we doing here? Get offline. You would never do that to someone's face. So why engage in that same behavior online? I also don't take any personal issue with Black people who choose to sit this out, because we did what mattered most overwhelmingly. You know, the Latino community, when you look at it from sheer numbers, the Latino community has surpassed in population the Black community. The Latino community had a massive sway in this election. And when they were given the opportunity to look out for not only their community, but the Black community as well, they threw it away. So what can we do now? I truly wonder, what Latino Americans who are pressing Black people to get out there to protest, because while standing on business, she posted a video saying that she wasn't just asking for people to protest, she was asking for support. Actually, let me just put in her video.
Damn, y'all need to back it up, because nobody told you to go protest. We are asking for support. That doesn't necessarily mean go put yourself on the lines. I know the history of if Black Americans go and join the front lines, how brutal it's going to be. I understand. I'm not dumb. Nobody's telling y'all to go do that. I'm telling y'all to support us behind closed doors. I'm telling y'all to repost, to share information, to spread awareness that this is wrong. What is going on is wrong. Nobody told y'all to go put your life on the line, dude. We understand that everybody has their own conditions, and self-advocacy is not just through going to protest. You can speak up for people through this phone, like what I'm doing right now. On camera, off camera, it doesn't matter. We should still be saying something. So that's just how I feel, because I just can't. It's like this whole thing has turned into a big ass race issue. How are we ever going to stop the problem? How are we ever going to fix this if we can't get over our race?
So yeah, so she's saying that support doesn't only have to be showing up and protesting. Support can be speaking out. Yeah, I see a lot of Black people doing that. The vast majority of the people who follow me and that I follow on TikTok, Instagram, social media in general are Black women. And I have seen Black women actually, maybe it's just my For You page and what I'm being fed and the content I engage with and my community, but I have actually seen more Black women say that we need to be out there, we need to be protesting, we need to be supporting in any way we can. I've seen more Black women shaming, honestly, other Black women and other Black people who have said that they are sitting this out. So it's just very interesting to me. And again, like I said, I am a child of immigrants. The vast majority of people in my network, in my social network, and who I'm following and the content I'm generally being fed is Black Americans. It's a lot of also immigrant American content and commentary. So maybe it's just my For You page, For You paging, and the algorithm is what. And the TikTok algorithm is very sophisticated, so they will feed you content that is specific towards you and what you are engaging with. Maybe that's why I've been seeing more Black women and Black people talk about this is our fight. We are all in this together. It's not just affecting Latino Americans, especially because there are Black Latinos, there are Afro Latinos, Caribbeans are Afro Latino, and they are going to be the ones impacted by this as well. And it rings different when they say it in comparison to some white Latinos or Hispanic Latinos who are like, oh, when they're done with us, who do you think you're coming for? Who do you think they're coming for next? It's like, okay, if you're not weaponizing empathy, then you're basically threatening us. Like this video is very like chronically online in the sense that I'm not having these conversations with people in real life, but I also recognize that I exist in a bubble of a very diverse community, a very liberal leaning community. So I just wouldn't be engaging with this commentary and this feedback and these views in my own personal life. So while I say it is chronically online and not happening in real life, I know somewhere in kitchens across America and communities across America and classrooms across America, there are people having these conversations. Okay, I digress. I've gotten off track. Basically, what I'm saying and what I'm curious about is, as you are asking Black women, Black people, if you're saying that you can respect the fact that they're not protesting, that they're resting, that they don't want to sacrifice their bodies or their safety, if you're saying you can respect and understand that, you're just asking for support. What does that support look like? And realistically, what do people, like, I genuinely wonder what all of these creators who are frustrated and demanding Black people speak out, what do they want Black people to do? What tangibly do they want Black people to do? What difference is our support going to make, and how is it going to help y'all now when Black people were asking for the same level of support in order to put Harris in the White House? That level of support wasn't extended by a community that had the most sway in this most recent election, that is now being impacted the most by the results of this election. what are we supposed to do now? What difference would our support make? What can we do for the community now to protect this community now? What can we do to support that couldn't have been done months ago with a simple vote by the same community who is asking for support now, safety, shelter, and protection when they couldn't be bothered to vote in a manner that would guarantee them their own safety, protection, and shelter. But now that same community is asking for support. You know, it just seems honestly that so many people feel entitled to Black bodies, Black energy, Black money, Black attention, just so much from Black Americans, Black people in America, Black immigrants in this country. So many feel entitled to the sacrifices, time, energy, money. But when it comes time to extend that same level of support, time, energy, empathy, it's nowhere to be found. And this is not a time to turn on one another. You know, this is a time where, and this is where I do agree with the young lady, you know, standing on business saying that we all need to come together. We all could have came together when it mattered the most. And this community decided not to. So now it's very disingenuous to say now that we all needed to come together, and we only need to come together now because you are being impacted, or your community is being the most impacted, and you're specifically calling on the community that is on the receiving end of a lot of anti-Blackness and discrimination from the same community who is now asking for that support. Because like I said, I don't see these videos being geared towards Asians, Southeast Asians, European, the global South, other South Americans. I don't really see the same level of energy. So it's like, why this specific call for Black people to step in? And I think this specific call is happening, because a lot of people feel entitled to, again, Black bodies, Black sacrifice, Black empathy, Black pain, Black labor, Black money, Black everything. I also think there is this resentment towards Black Americans who are saying, or Black people who are saying, you know what? I'm good. Black people so often in this country are the canaries in the coal mine. Anything negative and horrible that's happening in this country, or that will happen, will impact Black women first, Black people in general. It will impact us first. So when we were sounding the alarm and we're like, hey, we should probably move in a different direction. This is not who you want to vote for. And everybody else is like, oh, you're being dramatic. That would never happen. We're going to be fine. Or just hated Harris because she's a Black woman or a biracial Black woman. We were doing our best to be like, this is not what you want. And then all of a sudden, this is what they wanted. They got what they wanted. And we're like, okay, cool. You know what? We're done collectively. And I do think that there is this solidarity that I have not seen in a very long time as it pertains to Black communities in this country coming together. And I think we are seeing that. I also think there is this frustration that Black people aren't more afraid. And we aren't more afraid because we've already experienced all of this. Because like I said, Black people are the canaries in the coal mine in this country. Anything terrible that's going to happen, it's already happened to and been experienced by Black people. And so to see Black people not panicking in a time where they have to panic for likely the first time in their community or their life, or they're feeling the impact of the repercussions of their actions. A lot of people don't like I told you so. A lot of people don't like being held accountable for their choices, their actions, and their behavior. And when somebody is asking you for accountability, that accountability feels like an attack when you are not ready to acknowledge how your behavior harms others. And that's exactly what we're seeing happening in real time. And people aren't able to cope. That's all we're seeing. While some Black people have chosen to engage in a level of schadenfreude, and I told you so, which I don't necessarily agree with as it pertains to leaving these messages under people's videos. I will just never agree with that. As someone who is a content creator who has been on the receiving end of a lot of vitriol and hate, like I was just dragged on the internet a few days ago for sharing a relatively benign opinion. So I'm not somebody, I don't want to be on the receiving end of that behavior. And as content creators, people have normalized a level of cruelty against content creators and influencers that so many people think it is normal, and we should just accept being everybody's punching bag. And like, people can come into your comment section and leave the most rude and hateful commentary, and we should just take it because that's what we signed up for when we create and put content out onto the internet. I don't agree with that at all. So because I don't agree with that, I'm not going to engage in that behavior towards someone else, and I never co-sign that behavior. If you are feeling so froggy that you will hop into somebody's comment section and say something like that, say it with your whole chest. Post a video, because a lot of people hide behind fake profiles and private profiles, faceless, nameless profiles. No, if you're going to leave a hateful comment in somebody's video, say it with your chest and make your own video. So I will never go for that. I understand, however, people not really feeling compelled to not only extend empathy, but also extend their time and their energy. While I don't think the passive aggressive, I'm resting and I told you so commentary is necessary, and especially in the comments of somebody's video, I also understand that at this point, what do people expect or want from Black people? What do you expect us to do when you couldn't even do what was necessary to protect, or at the very least, reduce harm in your own community? You voted in a way that would increase harm. You just didn't think that harm would happen to you. You know, it's like a lot of federal employees who voted for Donald Trump and then lost their jobs. It's like you thought this harm would impact everybody else, and now it's impacting you. And now you want people to care and extend you empathy when you are being harmed, but you voted in a way that increased harm, while other people knew what was going to happen and voted in a way to reduce harm, to engage in harm reduction in their vote. Instead, chose the exact opposite. And now so many people are asking for empathy when their behavior wasn't empathetic in nature. As it pertains to people calling out and demanding celebrities, influencers, content creators speak out, I've done several videos about this, so it's not necessary to get into it again. However, I would much rather not hear from some content creators, influencers, and celebrities. They are not politicians. They are not well-versed in certain policies, and a lot of the time it comes down to pandering. But more than anything else, again, I ask, what are they going to do? If you are not pressing your elected officials, or if you are pressing content creators, influencers, and celebrities more than you are pressing your elected officials, and not only the elected officials in Washington, but in your home state, again, priorities. I think it's weird how so many people cede their power or disempower themselves and give up their power to content creators, influencers, and celebrities to speak and be a mouthpiece for them, when we all have the same 24 hours in the day, where we all have access to social media and the internet and our phones. If you can text, then you can post, then you can record. While I understand that when it comes to, you know, your favorite content creators or influencers or celebrities, you want to feel this connection through shared values, this expectation that all of them should move and think as you do is very parasocial in nature. And I don't know how and why we got to a place in our society where we are expecting more from celebrities, influencers, and content creators, or just regular, average, everyday people, than we do elected officials when it comes to policies and decisions that we do not have a lot of sway over, other than, or that we can't impact, other than how we vote. And if you didn't get in the booth and do what was necessary on November 6th, I don't know what to tell you at this point. And that's just where I'm at. To close out this video, if you're protesting, stay safe. If you are in LA and NYC, please stay safe. Do whatever you can to ensure your safety. If you choose to go out and protest, stay safe. If you choose to support in other ways, I love that and I respect that 110%. Because again, immigrants built this country. Immigrants make this country so beautiful and create a level of diversity that we all benefit from and are better for. At the same time, if you choose to sit this out and you are part of the 92% of Black women and the 78% of Black men who did not vote for this, and you are choosing to sit this out and reserve your own empathy, I also understand that, because empathy is not a tool to be weaponized against people to spur them to action when your behavior was lacking in empathy. I do not agree with the antagonization that is occurring against Black people, especially towards Black women. It is very violent. I don't agree with the weaponizing of empathy, and I don't agree with the shaming tactics, because again, I don't understand what certain communities expect Black people to do when we did what we could do. We did what we felt was best. If there is a tangible way you want to create change, your time and energy should not be spent online antagonizing, harassing, and shaming Black women for choosing to sit this out. And Black men too. It should not be spent harassing and antagonizing Black people. It should instead be your time and your energy and focus should be doing whatever you can do in your community that is going to reduce the harm that is actively happening now. Get offline, get in the booth, get offline, get engaged in your local politics, get involved, and find out what you can do to be most impactful in your community. Because there's a level of slacktivism that has eroded so many activist movements, but also community care, community building coalitions. There is a level of slacktivism happening right now that is eroding so many of these movements. And that is in part why we are seeing so many communities being fractured during this time, because people are not doing the work in real life to build their communities, to strengthen their communities, to provide people shelter and reduce harm. People get online, they post a couple of TikToks, they think their work is done, and it's not. If something is happening in your community, your energy is better spent finding out how you can be helpful to the community of real people around you, instead of antagonizing a digital community in the online space of Black people you will never meet for choices that they are making. And also when you yourself do not even know what you're asking of those Black people. You yourself do not know what tangibly Black people protesting, you yourself do not even know what will come of it. Turn off your phone and get in the booth. Turn off your phone, go outside, and be an active member of your community. That's it. That's all. Drop that in the comments. Let me know what you think. There was no way to close out that video, honestly. So drop that in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you for being here. I'm hoping to get back to my regular posting schedule, and I'm hoping to have the Aruba vlog and tips video up. I'm hoping to have that up by the end of next week. So stay tuned for that. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, peace out. Oh, also, let me know what the mic quality was like if you made it this far. I think hopefully I won't have to do too much cleanup in post-production. A lot of people were saying, well, not a lot of people, but enough people were commenting on the audio that I was like, okay, like I think I saw it in every single video for 4 or 5 videos. And I was like, okay, we need to do something about it. So I'm gonna try to clean it up in post-production. Hopefully I won't have to do too much cleanup, but let me know how you like the new mic. And if this doesn't work, because this freaking mic came highly recommended. But anyways, thanks for being here. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. And until next time, peace out.